All right, this update is brought to you by AutoZone. We'll start in baseball. Rangers-Astros, Game 2 of the ALCS. Rangers have a 5-2 lead in the top of the fifth inning there. Of course, they already have a 1-0 game lead in that series. D-backs Phillies NLCS gets underway later tonight, about 2 hours from now in Philadelphia. Zach Gallen on the mound. The D-backs against Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Aztecs, they got a nice bounce-back win this past Saturday night over Hawaii, 41-34. Next up for the Aztecs, they take on Nevada this upcoming weekend at Snapdragon Stadium. NFL tonight, Cowboys and Chargers, Monday Night Football. And baseball news of the day, Kim Ng left the Marlins today as the Marlins tried to hire a president of baseball ops above her, so she left the organization. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them the America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Sports Wrap continues, taking a look back at the weekend that was and giving you all the latest news and analysis.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? Hour 1 of Jon and Jim Sports Wrap on NBC7's Roku channel tonight. Continuing right now with Derek Togerson, who's with us for the next 20 or so minutes. Jon and Jim with you. Adam Kilgore, by the way, will join us from the Washington Post at 4:30 to break down this week in the NFL. To look ahead to tonight, we have Monday Night Football tonight right here on San Diego Sports 760, beginning at 5:15. Guys, there's a lot to get into. I need to start to see how Jim is. So, on Friday, Derek, we're talking about, like, what's going to stop the Niners or what's going to stop the Eagles? Are they on this collision course when they meet in the beginning of December in Philadelphia? Could they both be potentially undefeated? Niners a huge favorite this weekend in Cleveland, but PJ Walker, not JP Walker, right? PJ Walker of the Browns outdoing your boy. So are you okay?
Did you really outdo him?
I didn't watch 1 second.
I know you didn't.
I didn't watch 1 second, but I know that they missed a 41-yard field goal that would have won it.
Yes.
And I know everyone got hurt.
Everybody.
For the Niners.
Their entire team. It's like Debo out. Chris McCaffrey out. You have...
So what do you do
Trent
when
Williams.
Trent Williams
got hurt.
Also got hurt,
So
but he played.
Are you like throwing things at this point? Are you yelling? Like, what do you do
at the house?
Yeah, exactly. Because you know that this team is really good if they can just stay healthy. So to lose play, it's not about losing the game. It's like losing the players.
Yeah, I could have cared. I wanted them to win that game. I think their rookie kicker missing a game-winning field goal from only 41 yards out is a little bit of a red flag. Not a good sign.
Second kick he missed in the game, by the way.
Right. He left 6 points out there. Not a great sign for your rookie kicker that you drafted in the third round. But for me, I cared more about the injuries than that game. As long as Christian McCaffrey and Debo aren't like out for the year and they're going to be back relatively soon, then I'm okay with it.
Derek, do you see this as a collision course in the NFC? Is it going to be San Francisco and Philadelphia round 2 this year in the NFC Championship, or could something derail that?
You'd still like to think that, but San Francisco up until this looked like they were the class of not just the NFC, but the entire NFL. Philly's been kind of squeaking by, obviously, and I said it in the preseason, they're going to miss Shane Steichen. And obviously they're missing Shane Steichen. They've got a ton of talent on that roster, but it's not the same. At least it hasn't clicked yet. Now, that's not to say it's not going to, because again, they are a very, very good football team. I saw them in person last week against the Rams, and yeah, they look like the part. But then I look around and dare I say Detroit might have something to say about this in the NFC. Like especially if one of these teams is not going to be able to play a second round especially a second round home game. So whichever one of these teams has to go on the road, it's going to be a little bit rough. I know, by the way, Detroit's got a very bad division they're playing in. So they still get to play the Bears, get to play the Vikings, get to play the Packers. They get to play these games again. They're looking like they're sitting in the catbird seat to maybe get the #1 overall seed simply because they have such a weak division. The Rams are better than people thought they were going to be. Even the Cardinals are at least feisty. We thought they might go like 1-15 at best. And then you got Seattle, and Pete Carroll can always do something. So it's not going to be as easy as we maybe thought it was going to be.
I just want to say this. So opening game of the year, Derek, we had the Chiefs and Lions.
Mm-hmm. I said, why are the Lions on Thursday Night Football?
From Jon was the Lions suck. Why are we watching the Lions? The Lions are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
No, I didn't say
just relegate the Lions. They're stupid.
I said, when is the last time the Lions have been relevant? And to their credit, they're relevant right now. And maybe at the end of last year, when's the last time they won a playoff game? Was Rodney Pete there? Was it like
1991? I actually looked this up. Barry Sanders was there, and Wayne Fonts was the head coach. They beat the Cowboys in a first-round playoff game. 1991 was the last time the Detroit Lions won a playoff game.
All right. Well, this was pre-Taylor with the Chiefs. I felt like they could have done better than Lions Chiefs.
True. If Taylor Swift was dating Travis Kelce, then it would have been
crazy.
over.
But the Lions, to their credit, have had a great year. So, okay, there's the NFL to react to. We're going to do that over the course of the day. I know you were talking with Darren about what's going on right now among baseball front offices. Marlins today, they didn't move on, but Kim Ng did, their GM, because they tried to hire someone over top her as president. We've seen this play out with the New York Mets, where GM decided to go. There's some other reasons there as well, but not electing to work with the president of baseball operations. The way I look at this from a San Diego perspective is that you're in a hard spot because you've elevated AJ Preller. It's one thing to ask someone to be over top of Preller to run the organization. It's another thing to get someone of the caliber of Billy Epler, who you guys were talking about, or Kim Ng to come into your organization. If we're all going to say the same thing we've always said, it's AJ Preller's show. Even if the general manager changes, he's still the president of baseball operations. I just feel like it's more challenging right now for Peter Seidler because of his decision a couple of years ago to elevate AJ Preller. It's like, what GM is really going to go work for Preller, considering, I don't know if he's lame duck or not because of Peter Seidler, but it just seems like a very tough spot to be put in to go work for AJ Preller, as opposed to have someone go be over top Preller.
Well, this is where we need to see exactly how overbearing AJ is with every little aspect of the organization. Or use overbearing for lack of a better phrase. If he is truly capable and willing and going to just do president of baseball operations stuff and take a step back from the everyday assembly of the major league roster and the things that he does with putting together the team that a GM would do, whereas president of baseball ops is more, okay, the draft, look at where's our minor league system? What can we do over here? It's kind of overseeing the entirety of the franchise all the way down to the Dominican Summer League, and then let the GM handle, you just do the big league roster stuff. If AJ is willing to completely hands off, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'll give you input if you ask, kind of like what Jed Hoyer and Theo Epstein had going. If he is capable of doing that, it would work. And people would want to come work in this organization because look at all the talent and look at how Peter Seidler is committed. Look at the fan base, look at the ballpark, look at the freaking weather. People want to be here. And that's going to be the key is, can AJ do that? Can he release control of a part of this that he's had control of for so long? That's going to be the question. And honestly, I don't know the answer.
I do know the answer.
And it's no, right?
It's no. I don't.
Yeah,
that's where I would lean.
Yeah, you can't change a zebra stripes. He is who he is. All the talk of potentially hiring a GM to be underneath him, I think that's exactly what it is. It's all talk. You're saying he was disingenuous during his press conference when he said he would look into the possibility. That was just lip service. Shocker.
He said it in 2021.
AJ Preller being disingenuous.
Jim reminded me in 2021, they said the same thing. They would consider bringing in a general manager. And what happened?
Nothing.
Well, now they've got two viable candidates on the market. So if they don't, like I told Darren this, if they don't at least bring Kim and Billy in for interviews, then everybody knows he's full of bleep.
Well,
you have to at least bring them in and talk just for the optics. You have to do that now, right? I
think that it would go a long way for not only the fan base, but for the direction of the franchise to do those things. I 100% agree with you. I just have no faith and no trust in him to do the right thing. And if he wants to do it, that's what Preller's going to do. And I just don't see him bringing an outside entity that has essentially no ties to him or this franchise and putting that person in a position of power.
And this is where Peter says, AJ, you're doing it.
Well,
bring him
here's
in.
my question.
You
why
have
would,
to.
But forget
you
about
do your
what
homework.
the Padres want to do. Why would, and unless I'm missing something, why would Kim Ng, who doesn't want to work for a president of baseball operations in Miami that hasn't yet been hired, want to go work for AJ Preller?
Right.
Or why would
because
Billy
it's
Epler?
a very different situation. If you are passed over for a job that you feel you've earned with an organization, that's one thing. Going somewhere else where that other position you were going for is already established, that's a very different situation.
And from Billy Epler, I mean, okay, so there's some things maybe on the side that we weren't aware of when he left his role, but wasn't the idea that he doesn't want to go work for David Stearns and he wants David Stearns to have full power to oversee this organization? How could you, again, we've all said the same thing about AJ Preller for 9 years, that it's basically Preller's way, and now I'm supposed to believe that if they bring in Billy Epler, it's now Billy Epler's way. Who's getting credit if the Padres win in 2024? Who are we going to give credit to if they bring Epler in?
A little bit of everybody. And also remember, Billy Epler might not be given any other opportunities. If the job market doesn't open up and AJ says, hey, come be our GM, are you going to say no? Are you going to be an advisor somewhere? No, you want to have a bigger role. You're going to take the best job you can find.
I agree, but it's so hard for me to even think of this team doing something that they essentially have never done. Like, just never done it with Preller, going outside the box and bringing in other people that don't have any connections to him. If anything, if they're going to hire a GM, I feel like it's going to be from within. And that's a move that would feel safe to them. And it would be something that he can still have his fingerprints all over the whole situation. Bringing someone outside of the organization that has the tiniest spine to push back, I don't think it's going to work for Preller.
I present to you Exhibit A, David Post. He's the guy who was with the Astros. Remember when the Cardinals were hacking into the Astros databases, trying to figure out how they were scouting those guys? David Post's computer was the one they were trying to get into. AJ brought him in to help with the whole scouting thing, because obviously they find things. Logan White came down from the Dodgers because he was a scouting guru. He's a guy who found Cody Bellinger and Clayton Kershaw and drafted all these guys. Brought him in, another voice to be in the organization. He has done it in the past, and those people all worked under him. So if he's going to stick with President of Baseball Operations and find someone else to come in and work under him, I think, given his past, would probably do that, especially if he's given a little shove, a substantial shove from the owner who's signing all the checks in the first place. He does have a history of doing that, just maybe not with something this high profile.
Yeah, I mean, my question is, if you were coming off a disastrous 2021 and had the opportunity then to hire a general manager and didn't, why would I be led to believe it's going to be any different in 2023 unless there's more pressure from within potentially by Peter? I guess that's a possibility that would be a reason as to why. To Jim's point, if they bring in a GM that's already on staff or in their front office, an executive, that does nothing for anyone, right? That's not good. So no. I don't understand the purpose to even consider doing something like that. But I do understand that most organizations now in baseball, I haven't looked at all 30, but there's a lot of organizations in baseball that have both the president of baseball operations and a general manager. So maybe this is almost like, I don't know if it's an inevitability, and maybe AJ would try to put it off. Maybe there's a reason they're set up the way they are. But worst case for me would be no GM. Second worst case would be elevating someone from within. And I think, like, ideally you would bring in an outside voice. But to Jim's point, it seems unlikely just based on the way they've treated the last 3 years in general.
Josh Stein, I think, would be good in that role. If you're if it's anybody, if you pick one person from inside the organization, I think he's the guy who could probably pull it off. But I mean, Kemp is so important on the international scouting area. There's really not a whole lot of other internal options that would be viable and make it work. I think Josh Stein would be a guy who can make it work.
Potentially, but no matter what, it's all going back to Preller. Like, no matter what, if they could bring in Kim Ng and they could have her be the GM of the team, it still goes back to AJ Preller. If this team has problems next year and the roster isn't good and they still have depth issues and they have problems in their starting rotation, you can have the GM fall on the sword, but I'm sorry, it for me all goes still back.
Well, doesn't that increase the desirability of the job? Because if you fail, hey, it's this guy's fault. You can come in and do whatever you want. And even if you fail, it's like, oh, well, AJ was meddling. So all you can do is, if you win, great, you're the reason it happened. If not, it's like, look at this clown I'm dealing with.
Yeah,
like,
but
you have complete, like, plausible deniability if you come and take this job based on the dynamic. That makes it even more desirable to me.
Does it, though? Because what if AJ Preller loses his job? Like, there is no world, even with Peter Seidler's loyalty, where they can have a repeat of 2023 and 2024 and AJ Preller retains his job. That's the way I see it.
Sure about
I
that?
could be wrong on that.
I think you're wrong on
in
that.
a real world situation where AJ Preller loses his job if this team misses the postseason next year, as he would in every other organization in baseball, I'm talking about every single organization in baseball, considering those circumstances, well, then why would the GM be safe?
What's the reason they missed the playoffs? Is it because Tatis and Machado and Darvish and Musgrove, and everybody gets hurt and they all miss 120 games? Then you've got a flyer.
Jim, we said there's no flyers. The Padres have
That's
run
a flyer.
out of flyers.
If you can chalk it up to something tangible like that, like, okay, all these guys who were paying $100 million to combine, they combined to give us 80 games. Then you can make a legitimate case that, well, we don't know how good it would have been. We didn't have our guys.
Yes, but like that's happened before with this franchise, and at some point, enough's enough. I understand.
Has it happened with Peter Seidler and the support that he gives AJ Preller?
No, and that's why I think kind of almost no matter what, this franchise and fan base is stuck with Preller at least until the earliest 2026 when his contract is up.
The end of 2026. You're saying you're stuck with them no matter what happens?
I can't,
even if they don't make the postseason the next 2 years.
Look, do I think that they should do it? No.
If they missed the postseason in 2024 and 2025, he'd be back in 2026.
I thought he was going to be back after this season, and guess what? He's back.
No, you thought he'd be back. You preferred he wouldn't.
I still feel the same thing. I preferred that he would not be back, but I think he would be back.
Interesting.
Like if he's not going to get fired after 2021 and after 2023,
right? What's against
like you're going to have some major problems here, and there's already been some major problems here.
And Derek, I would say this, like to your point. Well, sure, if everyone's injured, okay, but what about 2023 when nobody was injured? I mean, you can use the excuse that Musgrove got hurt after the trade deadline. They weren't in playoff contention before the trade deadline. They didn't have the injuries that you would expect for the team to disappoint the way they did.
Yeah, we're not talking about 2023. You're talking about next year. What would be the flyer that he would get?
So why did he get a flyer? But why did he get a flyer this year?
That I don't know. And
right?
and I was, like I said, I even wrote a piece saying it's time for AJ to step down as GM. Like, you should keep him around as president of baseball operations, whatever, because he's an incredible collector of talents. He doesn't seem to know how to build a team. And when you go 20-7 in your last month plus a day with Matthew Batten playing more games than Ha-Sung Kim, that doesn't make sense other than for some reason they go 15-5 with Jurickson Profar. They had a great year last year with Jurickson Profar. He's not an all-star, but for some reason, he galvanizes the clubhouse. Whatever it is, you got all these bricks, but no mortar. He's got to find out how to find the guys to become the mortar, and that's where I think he fails. Give me all the superstars, but now look at how they come together and interact with one another. That I think is the biggest problem right now with this club. And if you can find somebody else, like Kim Ng, who has a team that has a negative run differential but makes the playoffs, whereas the Padres had a positive run differential and missed the playoffs. So obviously that team wins close games. They've got something going on. She understands how the pieces fit together better. Bring somebody else in who can help you with the major league roster construction.
So funny. I hear those words, roster construction, and I get so much
anxiety.
Not anxiety, but deja vu feeling. It's like the same questions every year. The same thing. You mentioned AJ
every
Preller.
team except the Braves and Dodgers and the Astros deal with this every year.
Well, it's one thing for every team to deal with it. It's another thing for the same general manager for 9 seasons to deal with it.
And only have 2 winning seasons that are 162 game seasons.
And the payroll. And that payroll that he has.
And by the way, those only 2 are by one skipper that he's trying to get rid of.
That has a bad relationship with him.
Hey, by the way, real quick, guys, I want Derek's thoughts and Jim's thoughts on. So Aztecs had, lost 4 straight. They win Saturday night at Hawaii. And then I'm seeing social media. Everyone's telling me that, they won, and it was boring and they were lucky and they made mistakes. Well, you'd expect to see. I mean, the team's under 500. They're 3-4. People are upset with the season overall. I understand it. But I heard for a decade in San Diego, they win, but it's the manner in which they win. I'd prefer they win 41-34. Shoot, I'd rather see them lose 34-31 than win 7-3. They lose 34-31 to Boise. Everyone's up in arms. Nobody's talking about their offense with 450 total yards. They beat Hawaii 41-34. They have 400 yards of total offense. It's their most points in who knows how long. Yet it's boring. It's uninspiring. They only beat Hawaii by 7. A ton of people have said it. So
they forced 4 turnovers. They had a 70-yard pick six. They had a 69-yard touchdown pass. By the way, Hawaii's quarterback threw for 427. I've never seen a quarterback. And I talked to Brady Hilk about this last night for football night in San Diego. I don't recall in the last decade or so seeing a team take that many deep shots down the field and hit on that many deep shots. That was a fun game to watch. I think part of the problem was it started at 8:00 Pacific time. So by that point, we've watched all this football and we're like, okay, maybe I got to try and stay up. I'm tired. Maybe I get, okay. So you're almost like preconceived notion that this is going to be, all right, what's going to happen? So then when something does unfold that's kind of fun and maybe a little bit sloppy, but it is up and down and it is close. And maybe people got mad that Hawaii overcame a 17-point deficit to take the lead, but the Aztecs answered right back. That was one of the more fun games I've seen them play in a long time. So to those people who are saying that, what do you want from us? What will make you happy?
I thought it was a fun game, even though it was ended in at like 11:30 on a Saturday night. Yeah. But it was a game that I think that they needed to have offensively, especially. Put up 41 points.
Well, 34. There was a pick six about the defense.
Right. And that's a good thing for the defense. But still, 30 plus points on offense.
They block a punt and they get the ball inside the 10 on their first possession and don't score a touchdown. I think that probably set people off.
Again,
like, oh, here we go again.
My thing was
so they don't see what else happens after that.
You were only going to be able to beat one team on Saturday night. That's what they did. You know, I mean, you could only beat Hawaii. They weren't going to avenge their previous 4 losses. They weren't going to, if they didn't score 70 points on their 10 possessions, it just seems like people aren't happy based on them having lost the previous 4 games and didn't take it for what it was, which is a road win. They scored 41 points. People tell me they want to see them score. And then when they do score, it's not enough even when they do it. Derek, where can we find this tonight? Sports Wrap.
Oh, on the NBC7 Roku channel. Or the fast channel, as they call it. Find it online. Go check your Roku thing and click on the little NBC7 thumbnail. I think that's how it works. I have trouble finding it myself. I'm being completely honest.
I've been watching 9 p.m. NBC7's Roku channel. Check it out at 9 p.m. tonight. Sports Wrap with Derek Togerson. Derek, we appreciate it as always.
We're gonna go get Kim Eng t-shirts and then march around Petco Park saying bring her in.
I'm a size large. Jim's a medium. All right, San Diego State hoops cleaning up on the recruiting trail. We've got the latest for you next. Stay with us. JD Gaucho, what's going on, man? Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your support of the channel, guys. If you're here, we get to all the super chats at breaks. We appreciate your support of the channel with the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. If you're here, please subscribe as well. JD Gaucho says, had about 3,632 fans at Snapdragon for San Diego State USD Saturday night. Men's soccer, 1-1 tie. More games at Snapdragon in the future. I think that is coming. I think I saw a quote maybe in an article post-game that there's a possibility of additional men's games being played at Snapdragon maybe as soon as 2024. I think the men are playing one and the women are playing one. So you might see maybe multiple men's games at some point in 2024. That's probably speaking out of turn or off the cuff, but yeah, it was cool. I saw some of the videos from the game, and it looked like they had a good crowd. Then yesterday for the Wave, they had 30,000 people. I was there yesterday, which is crazy, at Snapdragon. So good weekend. Back home for football on Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. But yeah, good to see San Diego State. They've had an excellent year, top 25 caliber, NCAA tournament caliber team. Nice to see them play in front of nearly 4,000 fans. Again, if you're here, thank you for the super chats. We'll get to them at the breaks. Please subscribe, and we'll be back in a moment. Thank you. All right, we'll tell you about our giveaway today on Jon and Jim. We have Monday Night Football at 5:15. Up next, San Diego State basketball cleaning up yesterday on the recruiting trail. The latest next.
All right, this update is brought to you by AutoZone. ALCS game number 2 underway right now in Houston, and the Rangers still hold a 5-2 lead over the Astros in the bottom of the 6th inning there. The NLCS gets underway later tonight, 5:07 first pitch, D-backs and Phillies in Philadelphia. Zach Gallen versus Zach Wheeler. NFL tonight, Monday Night Football concludes week 6. The Cowboys take on the Chargers. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 5:15. The Aztecs, they got back in the win column with a 41-34 win over Hawaii this past weekend. Next up for the Aztecs, they take on Nevada. this Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. The Aztecs basketball team came in today in the top 25 of the AP poll, coming in at number 17. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All right, we've got a 4-pack of tickets to give away to SeaWorld's Howl-O-Scream. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. Also coming up at 4:30, Adam Kilgore, Washington Post NFL writer. He'll join us. What do we make of the Niners' loss, the Eagles' loss? He'll get us ready for Monday Night Football tonight. You can catch it on San Diego Sports 760 at 5:15 p.m. So you just mentioned San Diego State basketball back in the top 25.
Yeah.
Preseason poll released earlier today. It's 17th overall. We can get into whether that's just right, too high, or too low. But what also happened this weekend was San Diego State landed its highest rated basketball commit since 2015 or 2016, a 6'8" power forward out of Vegas by the name of Pharaoh Compton. Elite name, 5-star name.
Mm-hmm.
Pharaoh Compton, 6'8" power forward. If you turn on the film, he's freakishly athletic, big, strong, physical, plays above the rim, dunks everything. They also added a 7-footer out of South Sudan, David Majak. I think I'm saying that right. They had a 7-footer in this class. Magoon Gwath, 6'11 3/4. This 7-footer is David Majak, 6'8" Pharaoh Compton, 6'7" Miles Bird. Here's what I'm getting at. San Diego State has always been older, physical, experienced, athletic, and positionless under Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher. Now they're getting to be like trees. I mean, you have a chance in a year to play 2 7-footers potentially at the same time, along with 6'7" guards and 6'8", 6'9" power forwards.
Long
all of a sudden,
wingspans.
San Diego State's going to be looking like an SEC team.
The thing that I took away from Dutch when we talked to him at Media Day in Vegas last week, and he said this before, they've always recruited good players.
No doubt.
They've always had good players. They have a steady pipeline, like either into the NBA route or international. Like their players go on to play professionally somewhere in the world. It's like, what's changed with the Aztecs other than, hey, we can also now when we recruit say that we're a national championship caliber type of program. That's the only thing that's changed. But if that wasn't there, he would still be able to recruit and land these type of top players. But also it doesn't hurt to now have the under your belt. Like, hey, by the way, we are a national program that has been to a national championship game last year, and we are now on the map. Doesn't hurt.
It doesn't, but just like the size, the sheer size. This isn't necessarily who San Diego State has always been. Yeah, Nathan was a monster inside, and he wasn't technically 7 feet, but he had the big wingspan, and he was big and physical. But again, this freshman they have right now is a 7-footer. The 7-footer they're going to bring in Majak. They've got Reese Waters is 6'6". He's got eligibility for next year. Miles Bird is 6'7". Elijah Saunders is 6'8". They have a freshman, Miles Heide, who's 6'10". Pharaoh Compton is 6'8 plus. Like, that's huge. Okay, there have been teams where San Diego State has been quote unquote undersized. Jay Powell, by the way, has another year of eligibility after this year. He's 6'9". Like, they've had teams before that are nowhere near that size, that have won them out west, that have gotten into the NCAA tournament, and of course have made runs in the NCAA tournament. Now, last year I will say they were big. Nathan, AG, Keyshawn, even a Matt Bradley as a guard was big and physical. But I don't think they're getting smaller in the future, is my point, even in the absence of a player as good as Nathan Mensah. And that's a credit to Brian Dutcher and his staff for the way they've been able to recruit.
Yeah, the rich keep on getting richer. This program is not going to stop just because they made a national championship game. They're going to try to get better. They're going to try to get better players. They're trying to get better transfers in here. Like, if anybody thinks out there, just because this team made the national championship game last year, they're on top of the world, that they're just going to rest on their laurels and just kind of sit back and go, we're good. Yeah, that's not happening.
Right. That's what you and I would do. Like, oh, Jon and Jim, radio show of the year, we're good.
We kind of do that.
We kind of do that. But that's not what San Diego State is doing right now under Brian Dutcher. All right. Dave wants to weigh in on Aztec hoops. Is that right? All right, Dave, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, Jon, you're 100% spot on, you guys, about the size. Size does matter when you get to the March Madness. I mean, how many times have the Aztecs gone in and it's like men against boys when you get into that realm? And so your point, John, is really well taken. If these guys that they picked up can actually as well be players as well as being big, then you're on to something that's going to be really, really, really good, because you've got to have that size. And that's what I think when you look at the defensive end of things last year, what really helped them was the guys down in the low post. And so when you're not hitting those 3 points and you're not, you're in a little bit of a cold spell, you can go right back to your bigs and pick up some buckets and keep you in games. And, more times than not, that happened a lot last year. And so we're going to miss some of those guys, but nonetheless, you bring the new kids in and they develop into something good, then John, you're right on target, man. It's full speed ahead.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you calling in. I mean, think about last year in the NCAA tournament. They ran into big man after big man and had success. Charles Bediako, Alabama, NBA guy. I don't know how to talk. 7'2". Ryan Kalkbrenner, Creighton, 7'4". Adama Sanogo, monster, physical specimen. Klingon at UConn, 7'4". FAU center, the Russian, 7'2".
Yeah, the size disparity, I feel like, really caught up to them, and that's to their credit. In the national championship game against UConn,
no doubt,
they dealt with the size disparity very, very well against Creighton, against Alabama. I feel like FAU, there was no really size there. It was just a bunch of they had some of the quickest, most athletic guards in the country.
They had great guard play.
But the size with Creighton and Alabama, and they handled those teams very well. It was once they got to UConn in the national championship game where the size differential caught up to them. And when you're bringing a 7-footer off the bench that can shoot a little bit and kind of dominate down low, and he's their backup center, like, that's a problem.
Yeah, future lottery pick who is 7'2.5" off the bench.
Yeah,
for Adama Sanogo, who's one of the best big men in the country.
Like, just when you think, oh, we get a little bit of a break here with Sanogo going on the bench.
Just kidding.
Yeah, no, we actually probably get someone that might be better than him coming off the bench to replace him.
All right, San Diego State hoops reloading. On the other side, we're going to get to Is That Good? That's the best and worst of the sports weekend. Again, at 4:30, Adam Kilgore from the Washington Post on this weekend in the NFL. He'll get us ready for tonight as well. Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Chargers. We're with you until 5:15 tonight. We've got a great giveaway as well, that 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream. But on the other side, the best and worst of the sports weekend, the way we see it, Is That Good? Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, is that good? The best and worst of the sports weekend, plus your calls at 844-570-1360. That's next. All right, Jon and Jim with you. Monday afternoon. Jim went to the chiropractor. Wanted to make sure everyone knew.
I want everybody to know.
The Niners need to go to the chiropractor.
They probably should go. And if they went to Accrue Health, then they would be completely fine.
You should bring the whole team. Do they have enough tables for everyone?
Well, they have only 4 there, but
how many players are on the Niners? 5?
Well, the players
10?
that are injured on the Niners.
True.
Could they go and help them? I hope so.
Probably.
That'd be awesome. Christian McCaffrey needs a little bit of help.
Status?
Debo, they're all day to day, and Christian McCaffrey was getting an MRI. Yes, Christian McCaffrey was getting an MRI.
Here's
on
what
his,
I would do:
oblique and potentially ribs.
Here's what I do: Debo and Christian McCaffrey are the ones that are day to day.
Bubble wrap.
I'll make them available for the first postseason game. You could just train on the side. You can wear pennies. You can run. You can jump. You can lift weights. We already know who Christian McCaffrey is. They'll fall out of bed at 12-5. Okay,
they don't need those guys anyways. Remember?
What do you mean? Because you're saying,
yeah, they still got Brock Purdy. They don't need those guys.
So they're 12-5 either way.
12-5,
and they could be as good as 15-2. But 12-5 is good enough to get into the dance, and then they'll have everyone healthy for the postseason.
If they had no BS injuries this year, then of course 15-2. They're one of the best rosters in the NFL. But every team has injuries. They're never going to not have injuries.
Mm-hmm.
They have a bye week in a couple weeks. Just don't play in the next couple of weeks. You're playing the Vikings and the Bengals.
Just get them ready for the Eagles game.
Just get ready for the Eagles game, and who knows? I mean, the Lions are probably going to be the number 1 seed now, so that doesn't even matter to try to get the number 1 seed.
Now they're going to have to go through Philadelphia, Detroit. No, they're still. I mean,
they're a wild card team.
One of these teams between San Francisco and Philadelphia is still going to be the 1 seed.
You think?
One of these two? Yes, I do. All right, we're going to get to Is That Good in a moment. First, let's go back to the phones. Murray's been patient. 844-570-1360 if you want to weigh in. Murray wants to talk San Diego State. Murray, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, guys. This is Murray from Minnesota again.
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Talk to you again.
How are you?
First of all, I want to say thank you guys for being there when I needed you with my brother. I mean, you were a godsend, and I really appreciate it. And God bless both of you for that.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Murray.
But with SDSU, I've looked over these rankings for the preseason, and I'm disgusted. I mean, San Diego State 17, and they got to the championship game last year, and you got Kansas and Duke at number 1 and 2. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's terrible. It's terrible.
Well, Murray, first of all, thank you for calling in. But here's the thing. Preseason polls really lack any teeth or significance because you can't use the preseason poll to make any case at the end of the year where you're going to finish.
You know who was ranked number 1 to start the preseason poll last year?
North Carolina?
Yeah, did they make the tournament?
They missed. Exactly. And they were in the national championship. They had won the national championship or finished the national championship game 2 years
finished
prior.
the national championship game.
Who'd they lose to?
Year. I know they beat Duke in the Final Four to get to the national championship game. Did they lose to...
Who won the NCAA tournament title in 2022? Kansas.
Okay.
So they lost to Kansas. But they were in the national championship game. To your point, they were number 1 overall. They missed the tournament.
Yeah.
As in, don't put too much stock in this. Yeah, you might say San Diego State was in a title game. Why are they in 17th in this AP poll? To be fair, the Aztecs are replacing a lot of parts from a really good team. I mean, 5 regulars with Nathan and AJ and Seiko and Bradley, right? And I'm missing someone in there. Keyshawn Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So, 17th is a pretty high preseason ranking. It's the second highest in the history of the program.
Is that good?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Darnay Tripp had it earlier today. I think they were 16th one year, maybe in 2014. So, I'm not losing sleep over that. Even me, I'm not losing sleep over it.
Yeah, me neither. And thanks for the call, Murray. Appreciate the kind words and glad we were there for you.
No doubt. All right, let's get to this.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder, from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
Okay, I'll start with the Eagles, John. It was not a good day in our house yesterday. I could tell you that. Not a great day. Erin in the morning, she went to get her nails done during the Niners game, and she got back literally seconds after Jake Moody missed that kick. It was just, I was like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk right now. And then the Eagles lost against the Jets. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if you've looked at Jalen Hurts this year, but he's not had a good season so far. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the year. He had 3 interceptions yesterday versus the Jets, including the one that cost them the game. Up 14-12. Just don't turn the ball over, dude. Just don't turn it over. And he threw almost a pick 6. So, Brent, is that good?
No, he's not good. Are you kidding me?
He's not had a good year.
No, he hasn't. And that's why I said between the Niners and the Eagles heading into the weekend, I liked the Niners more than the Eagles based on their body of work, like complete games in terms of playing well for 60 minutes. That has not been the Eagles, but they've been able to get by to this point until this past weekend against the Jets. It's a very bad loss. I mean, you can't lose the Jets without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, horrible.
It's a very bad loss. All right, I'm going to preemptively say the Rangers win, which could be a jinx, but I don't really care. But if the Rangers win, they're going to be 7-0 in the postseason with 6 road wins. They would lead the ALCS 2-0 on their way back for Arlington. If they win, Brent, they lead 5-3 in the 7th inning, I believe. If they win,
I really like the safest.
Is that
score.
good?
It is good.
I mean, I would never do it with the Padres, but I mean, are you like rooting for the Rangers? Just the Bochy story is so significant. 20-something years later, 30 years later, it's like got to be rooting for Bochy in this series.
I think Bochy's one of the best managers ever in baseball. It'd be incredible to see him win a World Series in his first year after he was pretty much forced out of San Francisco.
Yeah. I'm sick of the Astros, and I
a lot of
Dusty
people
Baker. So
Rangers. I would like a Rangers Phillies World Series. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay.
I'll take that. All right. Time for my Niners bashing. Jake Moody, bro, what are we doing here? You missed 2 kicks in the game. You miss a pretty makeable 41-yarder. It wasn't like the wind was 40-mile-hour gust towards the right goalpost. That was bad yesterday. But when you get drafted in the 3rd round as a kicker, who do you blame more? The person that drafted him or the kicker?
The person that drafted him.
So John Lynch drafting a kicker in the 3rd round, and he's already missed a game-winning field goal. Not fire him, but that's not good, bro.
Is that good? That's no good.
He literally did miss it.
You cannot miss a 41-yard field goal in the NFL.
No.
You got to be at 98%.
Especially a game winner.
Yeah.
I can deal with a 41-yard miss like in a game where you're up 30 to whatever. But
or if it's 56, okay. But 41, you got to be. What's an extra point at this
That's
point?
what I was going to say. It's practically an
You gotta
extra
be
point
making
these
it.
days. So
got to be making
anything
that.
inside 50, you have to be making, and 41 is well inside.
And it's a game-winning attempt.
Yeah,
Very
game losing.
Very bad, slightly red flaggish.
All right, so Colorado Friday night, Coach Prime.
Oh,
They
my
are on the
God.
outside looking in to get to a bowl game based on what happened Friday night. I went to sleep. It was 29-0 Colorado in Boulder at the half against lowly Stanford. Stanford was 1-4 with a win over Hawaii. That was their win. Stanford comes all the way back. They shock Colorado in overtime. The Buffaloes made ridiculous mistakes late in this game. Colorado loses. They're 4-3. We'll see if they get to a bowl game or not. Is blowing a 29-0 home lead good?
No, it's not good. Are you kidding me?
Very bad.
Very bad. So I gave him his flowers. I gotta talk about it. Brock Purdy had a bad game yesterday.
Kill him.
He had a bad game. Only 125 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I didn't realize the Browns were that good on defense. Like, I knew they were good, but I didn't realize looking at who they've faced this year, how bad they've made quarterbacks look this season.
Like, statistically, they were as good as any defense maybe in the NFL?
They're statistically the number one defense in the NFL from top to bottom.
Okay.
The only team that's better as far as like scoring defense goes is the Niners.
Oh, okay.
So every stat, like pass yards per game, all that stuff, Browns are the best. They are the best. They're a really good defense. Jeff Schwartz is now 9-1 when he coaches against Kyle Shanahan led teams.
What?
Yeah. It's kind of a crazy stat. But Brock Purdy had a bad game yesterday. He did have the drive that led to a potential game-winning 41-yard field goal, but the first 3 quarters, I mean, it looked ugly. It looked bad. But I'm not going to like jump off the bandwagon now because he played the number 1 defense in the NFL and did not look good. But Brent, there we go. Just say no. Yeah, just say no.
Okay.
Just say it didn't look good.
Basically, he got beat by PJ Walker.
He had nothing to do with PJ Walker.
Whatever. All right, my final one for Is That Good? Cricket, flag football, baseball, softball, lacrosse, and squash. Welcome to the 2028 Olympics. The U.S. better win flag football. We cannot lose flag football in the 2028 Olympics.
Who's their quarterback?
That team's going to be, I don't know, but they're going to be stacked. They should be better than all the other nations combined. I'm looking forward to lacrosse personally. Baseball, that's cool. What do you think, Brent? Those sports being added, is that good? He's thinking long and hard. Baseball, Brent. Thank you.
half of them are good and half of them I don't give a crap about.
The story of the Olympics. All right. On the other side, we're going to get to hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We have the wrap for you. Adam Kilgore, Washington Post. What does he make of the Niners and the Eagles? He'll get us ready for Monday Night Football. You can hear it at 5:15. We have a 4-pack of tickets to Hal O'Scream to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. Hour 2, Jon and Jim, next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jim Petrell's real estate team. ALCS game number 2 in Houston right now as the Rangers have a 5-3 lead. They also lead that series 1-0. NLCS gets underway tonight, 5:07 first pitch in Philadelphia between the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. Got Zach Gallen going up against Zach Wheeler. Matchup tonight on the mound. Monday Night Football in LA between the Cowboys and the Chargers. 5:15 kickoff there. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. In Aztecs news, over the weekend, they beat Hawaii to end their 4-game losing streak. They won 41-34. And the Aztecs basketball team came in today at ranked number 17th in the first AP poll of the season. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just text. Jim Petrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim with you until 5:15 tonight, Monday Night Football right here on San Diego Sports 760. And coming up at 4:30, you'll hear from Adam Kilgore. He's with the Washington Post. He covers the NFL. He will join us. A look back at this weekend, a look ahead to tonight. Also, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream coming up this hour. Before we get to the wrap, Andrew Baggerly in The Athletic. Okay? Andrew Baggerly covers the Giants for The Athletic. He writes this. In regards to who the Giants could hire as a manager, okay?
Oh, just do it. Give it to me.
Among the candidates he theorizes on, he writes this. It could be a seasoned and successful manager like Bob Melvin, whose situation in San Diego isn't as settled as one press release would make it appear. Andrew Baggerly today in The Athletic. Bob Melvin's situation in San Diego isn't as settled as one press release would make it appear.
Interesting.
Now he's quoted by the AP, Bernie Wilson. Bob Melvin is saying he will be back in 2024. AJ Preller at the year-end press conference said Bob Melvin would be back. I kind of considered it settled. Nothing's overly shocking in sports if you follow it long enough, but I'd be surprised if Bob Melvin wasn't here in 2024. What do you make of that one sentence from Andrew Baggerly?
I would agree with him. You can say that nothing is wrong and everything is fine now, and he's 100% coming back, and that all could be, I guess, somewhat true. Maybe just the him coming back part is the truest part of that sentence. But we've been saying that the optics here doesn't feel right until these other jobs get filled. I just don't have a 100% certainty. Bob hasn't talked to the media since the end of the season. I haven't seen Bob at all. He had AJ Preller on some random Zoom call, just completely lying through his teeth about things. You've had, just a bunch of swirling rumors about relationships, and you hear from Dennis, it's one of those truces that it's an uneasy truce, as he described it. And Kevin talking about how Preller was lying through his teeth through a lot of the things that he said the only time he spoke to the media. So with all that, yeah, I'm not feeling as 100% confident as I feel like I should feel with Bob Melvin returning. Now, do I think he's going to return? Yeah. But I'm also not going to just close the door on that and say that the crack isn't slightly open.
Yeah, and Andrew Baggerly at The Athletic this hour. It could be a seasoned and successful manager. He's talking about the Giants like Bob Melvin, whose situation in San Diego isn't as settled as one press release would make it appear. Really interesting line from respected journalist at The Athletic, Andrew Baggerly. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that. We'll talk NFL at 4:30 with Adam Kilgore from the Washington Post. We'll give away that 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream at 4:45. And right now, we'll get to this.
All right, it's Goldilocks time. The Aztecs are ranked 17th in the preseason AP poll. Is it too high, too low, or just about right?
I'll say it's just about right. I think we were all expecting around the 15 range. 17 inside the top 20. That's good for me. Again, the preseason AP poll ranks mean less to nothing. Now, if this is like the last month of the season, they'd be like, okay, it's very cool. Like ranked 17th, not really worrying about them not making the tournament at all.
True.
But to start the year, doesn't mean much.
It doesn't mean, I agree with you. I think 17th is fair. I mean, who even knows? Who knows what San Diego State's going to look like? Who knows what Duke and Purdue and FAU is going to look like? You can only look at the rosters and see what teams have back, but things can change quickly. No better example as to what Jim pointed out earlier. UNC, the preseason number 1 last year, didn't even make the NCAA tournament. At 17, I mentioned this earlier, Darnay Tripp tweeted this out. The highest ranking in school history in the preseason for San Diego State, 16th in 2014. And the Aztecs are 17th. So I think they're in a good spot, at least to begin the year. Next question.
Jim, how worried are you about the Niners?
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. And it's honestly not to do with Brock. It's more or less to do with the injuries that they have with Christian McCaffrey. How long is he going to be out for? Debo, how long is he going to be out for? And the kicking situation to me is a red flag. And so that's what I'm worried about. If you're talking about the rankings of what I'm worried about with the Niners, it goes injuries, kicker, and then you could throw Brock down there. But yeah, if Christian McCaffrey's out for a while, that's not good.
You make a great point, though. Everyone knows about injuries, the impact it could have on a really good team. The kicking thing
it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. We know that when you get into postseason games or against the best of the best, you're talking about 1-score games. So kicking's going to matter, whether it's extra points or field goals. It's not necessarily going to determine who wins the Super Bowl, but it absolutely could determine who wins the Super Bowl. You can't be missing 41-yarders. You can't do it. To your point, up 30, down 30, world's going to keep spinning.
Yep.
But to win a game, you're missing a 41-yard field goal. That's not good.
No, it's not good. And when you're drafted in the 3rd round, you better be pretty much perfect. And to his credit, up until yesterday,
he was good.
He was perfect, actually. And he missed 2 field goals. I don't know if it was the weather, but hey, dude, you played at Michigan.
It's gonna happen again.
You played at Michigan. You're used to the weather. It's going to happen again.
Yep.
And when you're a really good football team, you got to have a good kicker. Look what happened with the Cowboys last season. You don't think they would have loved to have a good kicker? It hurt them a lot down the stretch. So kickers, they matter. And you can't be missing field goals like that. If he misses it again, I would say, honestly, Jake Moody, you better...
Time to move on.
You better be scared for your job.
The Niners are going to be the best team in the NFC this year if they can stay healthy and if they can clean up their kicking game. Simple as that.
They got rid of Robbie Gould, who was, let me check, never missed a field goal in postseason history.
But other than that,
it's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
By the way,
I know all about that, dude. We got rid of him and we double doinked ourselves out of the playoffs.
Yeah. And I bet you everybody was saying, why the hell did we not have Robbie Gould, right?
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Jim, are you worried about your Eagles?
Yeah, how worried are you about your Eagles?
I think they played great yesterday.
No, they didn't. No, they did not.
Have you seen their schedule?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
tough.
Yeah,
it is brutal.
And they're not playing great football.
No, they aren't. They're kind of just getting away with wins because of their talent.
Yeah, definitely.
But like,
what do they got? Dolphins, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Bills in their next 5 games.
Yeah.
Dolphins, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Bills in their next 5 games.
And then look at the
San Francisco.
And then San Francisco.
Oh, and then Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the Seahawks on the road.
And Seattle's good.
Dude, it's a good point. Yeah.
If and Lane Johnson got hurt yesterday.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Jalen Hurts, man, look, he had a great year last year. I don't think people are talking about his year this year because of what he did last year.
Right.
And this year, look at the numbers. It's been bad. And yesterday was an example of like a young quarterback making a really bad decision late in the game to cost your team a win.
But this is another example when we said, like, even going into this weekend, both teams are undefeated.
Yeah.
Another reason why you would have felt better about the Niners. Now, again, things can change. They've had injuries. The kicking thing could be a concern. But if I'm still comparing Philadelphia to San Francisco, and we'll see if they're the best teams in the NFC or not. But if I'm comparing San Francisco to Philadelphia, I'm still giving the edge to the Niners. Looking at that schedule, like, that's daunting. I think even going like 5-2 in the next 7 games would be incredibly impressive. And that's dropping 2 games.
Absolutely. That against that schedule, dude.
Yep.
Gauntlet, bro.
Next question.
Hey guys, should the Padres hire a general manager to work under AJ?
A GM.
Yes, but I don't know if it's even going to work. I think the Kim Ng storyline or potential of having her be here, I think would be fantastic. I just don't trust AJ like at all. So I would love Kim Ng here.
Right.
But I would love her here without AJ Preller.
So you want to just hire Kim Ng, replace AJ Preller after the year-end press conference and go along with business as usual. I don't hate the idea.
See, this is why, making definitive decisions on things could hurt you. You have Kim Ng, who I think has done a fantastic job with the Marlins, show up as being a candidate. And you've already made your bed with AJ.
And Billy Epler.
Without waiting for things to happen.
The same thing. And now Billy Epler, what's the circumstance? Something happened, right? With
guys in the IL? Like faked injuries.
All right, so maybe that's not ideal. Maybe that impacts his future, hiring ability or status. But you got Billy Epler available. You got Kim Ng, who was the Marlins GM. I mean, can you ask for anything more than what she just did? Low budget, successful, got to the postseason. What more do you want? And they want to replace her. So think about that. The Marlins tried to put like a retainer, so to speak, or like restrictor plates on Kim Ng, and the Padres just elevate AJ Preller.
Yeah.
So Kim Ng is not doing a good enough job. According to the Marlins, they want to have a president of baseball operations, but AJ Preller can do no wrong. Like, think about that. That's a complete 180.
Yeah.
What more could you have asked of her?
It's a joke.
They get in. They were never supposed to.
Nope.
And they did it on a shoestring budget. I don't know what the number was, but it's half of the Padres' budget. I guarantee you that at best. And now she's out and she's a free agent. Now, maybe she runs an organization. That's my thinking here, Jim. Like even
Boston.
Yeah, like why, if you're Kim Ng, are you leaving Miami to go work for AJ Preller?
You're not.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
You're not. She has too much respect for herself, and she knows like she can do a way better job.
She can run an organization.
If I was her, that's how I would feel. Like I could do a way better job than what AJ is doing. I'm not going to be underneath him. I'm not going to have. I'm not going to do it, and nor should she. Like I think anybody would. It doesn't matter if it's if it's her or if it's someone else. Billy Epler. Like why it would anybody.
Now, is Epler different because he went out, disgraced is the wrong word, but under this dark cloud of the IL maneuvering?
Like,
does that then make him a little more desperate to get back in? Therefore, he becomes a more desirable candidate. Do you really want to hire Billy Epler off what just happened in New York? Is that a good look?
John, if they were truly serious about this,
yes.
And by this, I mean AJ being serious about hiring a GM.
Okay.
You don't think we would be able to be hearing about interviews taking place?
Well, I would think that.
Well, that's why he's not serious, because we haven't.
Well, maybe he's out scouting.
Probably. Honestly, he's probably scouting somewhere in the Dominican.
Man, it's been quiet from a Padres perspective, as it would be with a team out, with the drama of the championship series. By the way, Texas trying to hold on right now to a 5-4 lead against the Astros.
Hell out of them.
And honestly, I maybe this is a hot take. And 70470 started with
I like a hot take Monday.
Or 844-570-1360.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not like gung-ho rooting for the Rangers. I mean, why? Because Bruce Bochy managed her 25 years ago?
Well, I think you can like Bochy and you can like pick people to root for.
Yeah, no, I understand. But like, I'm not going out of my way. Like, okay, you're talking like multiple franchises since, multiple decades since.
What do you mean?
It's a nice story. Like since he's had any impact on the Padres organization.
But that's not the point.
It's not the point?
No.
Okay, so
no one's sitting here rooting for Bruce Bochy because he was a manager here 20 years ago. They're rooting for Bruce Bochy because they like Bruce Bochy.
No, I think a lot of people are rooting for Bruce Bochy because of his ties to the Padres organization.
Well, I think that helps. I think that
are you rooting for Rob Thompson because he's a nice guy? Because all indications are he's a really nice guy.
Well, I root for Bryce Harper. Does Bryce Harper have any connection to the Padres besides beating them last year?
Why do you root for Bryce Harper?
Because I think Bryce Harper's awesome.
Okay.
I can root for Yordan Alvarez.
But I'm just saying,
I think he's awesome.
And I'm telling you right now that the manager of any one team isn't the reason why. I don't have a rooting interest based on the manager, but maybe I'm in the minority.
Well, it does help. You're right. It does help that he was the manager here, and Bruce
no
Bochy has
doubt.
ties to San Diego.
Yeah.
And Bruce Bochy is just an incredibly likely person, incredibly likely manager. But like, yeah, I can like certain managers, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I want them that person to win.
You
'Cause
can do
they're
whatever
awesome.
you want, but I'm just telling you that I'm not rooting for the Texas Rangers because of Bruce Bochy. Is that controversial?
Yes,
I'm not rooting for them, but I'm
Rich says in the chat, why do you hate Bruce Bochy?
I don't. I'm just saying, like, that's not. I understand what people are saying, but I don't know. That's not the reason why I'm like, hey. I hope
So do you
the Rangers
care
win the
about
World
any
Series.
team in baseball? Do you care who wins it all? Do you want to? Do you give it? You
I
care
would
at all?
like to see I don't want to see the Diamondbacks in the World Series because I don't find that compelling compared to the Phillies. I think the Phillies are much more interesting and polarizing because of Harper than the Diamondbacks. I would take Phillies Astros or Phillies Rangers, and I think both of those series would be pretty good. I think you get the Diamondbacks in there, and I don't know what type of national TV watch that's going to be. But no, I mean,
a lot.
It's not.
You know, for Tommy Pham.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of former Padres that are in the postseason as well.
Austin Hedges is on the
Right.
Rangers. A lot of ties with the Rangers.
Right.
I think the Rangers have a fun team. I think they're good. Even though John's jinxed them and they're going to lose this game now. Good job, John. But Rangers Phillies would be my preferred matchup for sure.
Rangers Phillies, and then Rangers to win it because of Bochy.
At that point, I think I would be fine with either team winning.
Why do you hate Bruce Bochy?
I said I'd be fine with either team winning.
Right, so you'd be okay with him losing.
But I would be happy if he won.
I would not be happy for him if he won. I'm just saying, I don't have a rooting interest at this point. It's been since the Padres have been out, and you're watching all these upsets. There's just no rooting. To me, it's not like I don't get satisfaction over other results if it's not the team that I'm like covering. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no, I
hate this whole like SEC thing.
It's
like I go to Vanderbilt and I'm excited because Alabama won the title. Like, what satisfaction do you get in Nashville because Alabama won a national championship? Like, do you get satisfaction, Padres fans, because another team in the NL West won a title? Why?
I love being a sports fan, but it also sucks because when your team loses, it feels like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And when you are watching a game with no rooting interest and it doesn't matter, like, okay, when you watch a game, eventually you get to a point where you want a certain team to win. You're like, oh, I want this. I want this to happen. Like, I want this to happen. And if that team doesn't win, you're sitting there like, okay, I'm fine. And you can go do whatever. And you're not like in this depression mode and you're not upset about it. That's the type of sports that we are in right now without the Padres. Like, I want a team to win, but if they lose, it's not the end of the world.
I agree with that. I guess my point is this. It's not controversial at all. I guess my point is this. You can like Bruce Bochy as a manager, but not necessarily like the team he's managing. I mean, he managed the San Francisco Giants for a decade plus, where Padres fans like, yes, go Giants. I like Bochy. You know what I mean? Like,
it was the opposite.
Exactly. Well, obviously, because of basically the gaff, which is moving on from Bochy. And then on the other side of it is he's a 3-time champion as a manager when you had him in your clubhouse and in your dugout and let him get away.
Well, I don't think he was winning anything here after, like when he left and Buddy took over. Like, I don't know if those teams are winning World Series.
Maybe not. That's possible.
And when AJ gets here, he's yeeting him out of the organization faster than you could say hi.
Hi. All right. On the other side, Adam Kilgore from the Washington Post. He covers the NFL. He will join us. We'll look back at this weekend. We'll look ahead to tonight, Cowboys and Chargers. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760 coming up at 5:15. Also, this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. We're going to do that during Trainwreck Radio. That's coming up around 4:45. But again, on the other side, Adam Kilgore, he's been with us before. Who's he more concerned about off this weekend? Is it the Niners or is it the Eagles? And who is the front runner right now in the NFC? Adam Kilgore from the Washington Post will join us next on Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you all about Windmill Farms. I'm getting over there at least once a week. I'm usually there on Wednesdays after talking to Brady Hoke for San Diego State for the coaches show. And we've been telling you all about Windmill Farms. Their owner, Trevor, comes from a family of grocers. They've been doing this for 20 plus years, and you need to get over there. It's family owned, it's family run. They do business with other companies right here in San Diego. They're the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for your game day needs. They also have you covered for your work day needs. They've got organic produce and meats, okay? They have amazing craft beer, an incredible selection of beer. They've got a full deli with the award-winning sandwiches. I've been telling you about the deli. Here's what I like most about it. Your 8th sandwich is free with the sandwich card. They keep the prices incredibly low. Look at sandwich prices around San Diego. Look at the prices at Windmill Farms, and you're getting your 8th sandwich free. And they're using the best ingredients they can possibly use to keep those prices low. Here's the thing. They're centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. They've been family owned, and they've been serving the San Diego area for 20 plus years. If you don't live or work near Del Cerro, not a problem. You can find Windmill Farms on Instacart and have your groceries delivered directly to your doorsteps. Make sure to check them out because they have weekly specials online at windmillfarmsmarket.com. Again, windmillfarmsmarket.com. They support local businesses from Harris Ranch to Mr. G's Salsa. And a reminder, shop local, shop at Windmill Farms.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jim Petrell Real Estate Team. ALCS game number 2. We are in the top of the 9th inning. Rangers holding on to a 5-4 lead, looking for a 2-0 series lead here if they win today. But a half hour from now, the NLCS gets underway in Philadelphia between the Phillies and the D-backs. Zach Gallen versus Zach Wheeler, your pitching matchup tonight. Monday Night Football concludes week 6 tonight. The Cowboys are in LA to face off against the Chargers. And the Aztecs, they got back in the win column with their 41-34 win over Hawaii this past weekend. Next up for the Aztecs, they take on Nevada this Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. The Aztecs basketball team came in at number 17 on the first AP poll of the year. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, coming up this hour, your chance to win that 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream during Trainwreck Radio. In about 15 minutes, be listening. We'll tell you when to call for that 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. We're breaking down this past weekend in the NFL and getting you ready for Monday Night Football. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760 coming up at 5:15. We're joined once again by Adam Kilgore from the Washington Post, back with us right now in San Diego on Jon and Jim. So, Adam, we appreciate your time. We've been talking a lot today about concern levels in the NFC for both Niners fans and Eagles fans. Who are you more concerned about after losing this past weekend, the Niners or the Eagles?
Well, that's a good question. I think I would say the Niners, only because they've been so banged up over the years, and obviously, some of their best players, including Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, who went out with injuries on Sunday in that loss. They have a history as great as they are on the field. They do have a significant injury history, and so I would just be concerned for that reason. Because if they're not healthy, they go from being the best team in the NFL and kind of a juggernaut to one of the better teams in the NFC who are vulnerable. So, not knowing quite how serious those injuries to Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey are, I think that's the biggest concern. I don't expect, if Jalen Hurts didn't make just an inexcusable, totally out of body, out of character mistake at the end of that game, the Eagles win, and we just say, okay, they snuck by a game and feisty Jets team and on to the next one. I do think the injuries are the thing to be worried about.
And moving over to the Eagles, losing a game like they did yesterday versus the Jets, that should not have been a loss. Like you said, Jalen Hurts making a really bad decision there, costing his team the win.
Oh, horrible.
But saying that, now you look at their schedule going forward. This is a gauntlet, easily the hardest schedule of anybody in the NFL for the next 6 weeks. I mean, you got the Chiefs on there, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Bills. It is a rough schedule, and especially because they're not playing well. So could we be seeing like the Eagles next 5-6 weeks here struggle and mightily here?
I think it's a great point because even last year in the regular season they were a total juggernaut, but they had probably the easiest schedule in the league, and that's sort of what helped them be the last remaining unbeaten into like November. It's not going to be the case this year, like you just said. My buddy Zach Berman at the Athletic pointed out they don't play a team currently under 500 until Christmas right now. Geez. So it's every week for the next couple of months they have a challenge, and they need Lane Johnson back. I mean, that was like a flip switch in that game yesterday, before and after Lane Johnson got injured and had to leave. So I do think that it's not like when the Eagles play a good team, yet the other team is feeling good about it either. They're so hard to beat because of how tough they are on the lines. They're going to get Jalen Carter back. They're going to be, they're going to push people around no matter who they play. But they do need to get in sync. I do think that they're still transitioning, and you can tell even at this point in the season, there does seem to be a bit of a transition still from Shane Steichen, now the coach of the Colts, to Brian Johnson, their new offensive coordinator, formerly the quarterbacks coach in Philly. The offense does not seem quite the same as it was last year, and I would expect it to get to that level, but that transition is still happening, and it's going to be tested even more because of the schedule, like you mentioned.
No doubt. Adam Kilgore, Washington Post, with us right now on Jon and Jim. I haven't really followed this whole, hey, Aaron Rodgers could be back story, because I'm like, he tore his Achilles.
Because it's a stupid story.
Right, and it's the New York Jets. I just figured they'd be done. I figured they'd be like 1-5 right now, but they're not. They're 3-3, but he tore his Achilles. So, like, are you following this? Like, is there a path for Aaron Rodgers to somehow return off a torn Achilles at his age and impact the Jets this year?
Yeah, for me, that's a believe it when it happens type of thing. I mean, he said he got, Dr. Neil Elatrash out in LA, pretty innovative surgeon. And Rodgers has said, like, look, they did like a semi-experimental procedure on me. It's going to allow me to come back faster. Robert Saleh, the coach, is publicly held out hope, and they're keeping the seat warm for Rodgers, and that the team is drawing motivation for the fact that if they keep in it, they might be able to get Aaron Rodgers back for the stretch run. But I mean, the Achilles tendon is the Achilles tendon, and so like I said, I'll believe it when I see it happen. But the Jets are acting like it could happen, so I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for it. And, but he wasn't in the field throwing yesterday. People made a big deal of it, saying, "Oh, I didn't have crutches," but all I do is stand there and throw the ball. I think it's pretty far from getting on an NFL field. So worth monitoring, but I'm not gonna sort of like expect him to come back at all, because he'd be the first person to ever do that.
And we talked about the Eagles' extremely tough schedule up until Christmas. But another team who hasn't been really talked about today, I know it's just one day after they did it, but the Lions are 5-1, and they are tied for the best record in the NFC as well, tied for the best record in all of football. And their schedule here, kind of favorable. I mean, you're playing the Bears twice. You still play Denver, Minnesota twice, the Packers again, and they've already beat the Packers. Could we potentially see the Lions vying for the best record in the NFC this year?
No doubt. And and they've totally won me over. In the preseason, I did not think they were going to live up to the hype. I thought a lot of their run late last season was built on some schedule quirks. I didn't think their defense could hold up. I thought their offense was going to be fine, but I thought they would kind of fold under the weight of the hype, and their defense wasn't legit. And that was totally wrong. The Lions are awesome. They're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC all year long. They play so well together. They have great cohesion. They have great sort of tenacity on both sides of the ball. Brad Holmes, the GM, did a great job, almost like the Eagles, of building along the lines first. They're the ones beating the other team up. They don't get beat up. I mean, that was just big boy stuff yesterday. Like, they went on the road as a favorite, two teams that's 3-1 and playing pretty well with a lot of veterans and good players, and they just kind of handled their business. They dominated the game more or less. Their game was never in doubt in Tampa Bay. Jared Goff has for 2 years now been a very competent, steady, stable, often quite excellent quarterback. They got it all. They're good. I mean, Hutchinson's like the third Bosa brother, kind of like if you have Hutchinson, you have good defense because he can affect the quarterback all on his own. And so I've gone from totally skeptical to totally sold on the Lions.
Finally, for me, Adam, Cowboys Chargers tonight. Who's it more important for?
Probably Dallas, because I think they need to prove that they're more than beating up on crappy teams. But that said, I would favor the Chargers tonight. I think that Dallas is that team that, to me, they're a great front runner. That once they can sort of get the snowball rolling downhill, they're fine. But when they have to push the snowball up the hill, they can't do it because they're sort of in that just the way they're built. I think they can blow out the bad teams, and they're not good enough to beat the good teams though. And so I would still say the Chargers, despite sort of their coaching misadventures and being 500 forever under Staley and Herbert, I do think that they're going to be able to eke it out over Dallas.
I like that slogan, 500 forever. Chargers, because it's very
very accurate.
Very well. You said it very well.
Yeah.
Adam Kilgore, Washington Post. Adam, we appreciate your time in San Diego. Thanks for doing it tonight.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Adam Kilgore again in DC.
Your Lions, bro.
My Lions.
That's your football team this year.
Well, they might be on that Thursday night football opener again next year.
As
they win the Super Bowl.
As the defending Super Bowl champions.
Exactly. Brent, let's get to this real quick, if we may, in a moment.
In just a short moment.
Just a short while.
A very short moment.
There it is. All right, your Aztec Rewind presented by Windmill Farms. 4 turnovers forced. They had forced 0 in their 2 prior Mountain West games. 400 total yards of offense, 157 on the ground. We said they needed to get back to that ground game. 41 points overall in a 41-34 win. Jim, we said they had to get it. They absolutely had to get it, and they found a way to get it Saturday night in Honolulu.
Yes, there was a must-win game. 3-4 looks way better than 2-5,
no doubt.
And how they won it was encouraging. Like they didn't look flat. The defense came up with timely stops at the end of that game, forcing that turnover there to ice the game, getting that big pick 6, which is something that they absolutely needed in that game. Getting the running game going. You might say, well, it's just Hawaii, but I look at it as like, hey, you put up 41 as a team. You went on the road and you won a game that you had to win. Plain and simple.
I'm with you.
If we can't view them in this light of being like Georgia, because they're not. They're San Diego State.
Jim facts.
Well, I'm just going off of what Paul Garrison, who really kind of just like, it was like a slap in the face. Oh, this team, the expectations for it, maybe that's just not who they are. So why are we putting this on them? Because that's not who they are. And that's a fair point. So they got the job done. Get the win against Nevada. All right. You're 4-4, and you feel pretty damn good about yourself heading into that bye.
Yeah, heading into a bye week, then you get Utah State at home. Aztec Rewind presented by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for all your game day needs, featuring organic farm fresh produce and meats, an amazing craft beer selection, plus a full deli with award-winning sandwiches. You can check them out for all of their weekly specials at windmillfarmsmarket.com. All right, call right now, 844-570-1360. Who wants a free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream? First 2 callers will be our contestants for Trainwreck Radio. Call right now, 844-570-1360. A free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. First 2 callers will be our contestants. 844-570-1360. That's next. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. So last night, in between doing wrap-up shows, I spent time with my wife looking at our bills, which are just going up and up and up because the price of everything is going up and up and up. And if you need cash to pay off those credit cards or to do a home improvement like I do, listen, I'm just so excited to introduce you to the newest, fastest, easiest way to access the equity in your home. Loan Pronto is here for you with their revolutionary Express Equity line of credit. It's an amazing program because you can get cash out of your home in as fast as 5 days. And you can leave your 3% mortgage intact as well. Loan Pronto can pull $50, $100, even $200,000 out of your record high home value. That's money you can use right now to pay off those credit cards with their insane rates of 25% or more, or use the money to do a home improvement. You could add solar panels. Here's the best part. 9 out of 10 homeowners, they don't even need an appraisal. The fact is this: rates are too high to move to a new home, but you can still use your existing equity by converting it into cash. You can be credit card debt free. It's your money. You just need an easy way to get it. Call now and see how easy it is to get a lot of cash in 5 days or less. Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Jot this down: 619-207-4336. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. Jeff Passan on Twitter. Trainwreck Radio coming up Monday Night Football at 5:15.
What did he tweet now that you're raging about?
I got tagged into it because people know I get so mad.
Yeah.
So the Rangers won. Okay, they're up 2 games to none. It's been an amazing run.
Bochy put his closer in for more than 3 outs.
He did. He got 4 out save.
Breaking news.
Okay, so this is Jeff Passan.
Oh, wait, they can do that?
Yeah,
you're allowed. Jeff Passan. Texas bent, and it bent some more. And even more, but it didn't break. And on the strength of a 4-run first inning, Nathan Eovaldi's Houdini act out of a bases-loaded no-out jam and the closer's 4-out save, Texas goes home up 2-0 in the ALCS.
Why does everything have to be
Jeff.
so theatrical?
He's very theatrical.
This is
Is he okay? Didn't he, by the way, have a tree fall on him this summer? Remember that?
I think that explains a lot.
I think he's okay.
I guess he's okay. I think literally a tree fell on him. I think he broke his back this summer. Remember that?
Broke my back. Listen to this tweet by Alan Gonzalez.
Okay, what do you have?
So the Rangers, since losing on the final day of the regular season, to fall into the wild card because they had the same record as the Astros.
Wow.
But the head-to-head, I think it gave the Astros the AL West. The Rangers have not lost a game. They have swept the 99-win Rays. They swept the 101-win Orioles.
Jeez.
Taking a 2-0 lead over the defending World Series champions. But here's the craziest of it all.
Mm-hmm.
They've trailed in 1 inning.
In the entire postseason?
In the entire postseason.
Jeez. I mean, it's amazing. Take nothing away from it. I mean, at this point, you're like, are they going to lose?
When does the World Series start?
Because I mean, you're probably at least a week away from that, right? So they're going to have some off days. If they win this
October 27th.
27th. So that's a
game
while
one,
off.
Friday.
So 11 days.
And
they could end this thing on the 19th?
The 19th.
They could end it on the 19th. They'd have 8 days off. Remember that Rockies team that had all those days off that was swept by the Red Sox?
Maybe go up 3-1 and then lose one game and then
or
win
go up
game
3-0 and then lose a game.
Yeah, sorry. Go up 3-0, lose a game, and then win game 5. So you have only like a week off.
Is it a factor or is it not? The Rangers came into the series having not played for 4 days, I think. You know?
I mean, look, you could say that they caught a hot streak and they're unstoppable right now, but I think that they're just a good baseball.
They're very good. They were good during the regular season. They hit that wall, but they've been good all year.
And they don't even have DeGrom or Scherzer.
I know. Scherzer's active, though, now, right?
Scherzer might pitch in Texas.
I'd be surprised. I mean, are they really going to sweep the Astros in the American League Championship Series, even going home?
They have the second longest winning streak to begin the postseason.
Ever?
Ever.
Is that good?
The Royals of 2014 have the longest at 8 games.
Wow.
They lost in the World Series. No team with a 7-game or more winning streak, 6-game or more winning streak in the postseason to start the postseason has won the World Series.
Bruce Boccia, you got to give him, I mean, the credit he's going to get. If they were able to do this in his first year managing them.
I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer.
Oh, no doubt.
This is a slam dunk.
I mean, this is amazing.
Even if he just makes the World Series and doesn't win it, it's still a huge accomplishment on his resume.
I agree with you. All right, let's get to it.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Charlie and Chris. Charlie, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Go Jim, Anarchy.
Charlie, get off speakerphone.
Anarchy. I like it.
So that was Charlie.
That was Charlie, John.
Okay.
That was Charlie. Chris, you get John, all right?
Yeah.
Chris, you there?
Is that a yes?
Yeah. Hello.
Are you underwater, Chris?
No.
Okay, good.
Okay, just checking.
In
Brent,
the mountains.
You're in the mountains. Okay.
Oh, okay, even better. Brent, what's today's question of the day?
All right, guys, the Cowboys and the Chargers play tonight on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys are currently 3rd all-time for wins on Monday Night Football with 50. Today's question, name any of the other teams in the top 8 for wins on Monday Night Football.
I like this question a lot.
So do I.
Chris, you're up first in the mountains. What is your first guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to use
You
your
want to use your lifeline? You want to guess an NFL team that has a lot of wins historically on Monday Night Football?
Bears.
Chicago Bears top 8, Brent?
Top 8. They play a lot of Monday Night Football games. I would
Jim
bet.
facts. They had to if they've won.
Yeah. Charlie, what is your first guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Gotta go with those Niners.
49ers.
Jim's Niners.
On the list. They're pretty up there, I would assume. Chris, you're up next, buddy. What is your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Shoot. Use a lifeline.
All right, so off the board. Well, I know where I'm going to go. Clearly the Jags. I'm kidding. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you take that, Chris?
Yeah.
He does. On the
It has
list.
to be on the list.
Charlie, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Packers.
Packers. Very good guess.
Top 8? Yep.
Brent wants to hit that wrong buzzer really bad. Chris, to go 3 for 3 here, you do not have your lifeline, so it's all up to you, man. What do you got?
Jets.
The Jets. Oh,
Top
no.
8?
Oh, no. The Jets.
Have they been on Monday Night Football 8 times? Wow.
Oh, no.
They always do.
Charlie, you could walk off here with the correct answer, and you do still have your lifeline, man. What do you got?
Lifeline.
Lifeline.
Here we go, Jim. It all comes down to you.
I want to say, trying to think of like, okay, we said the Steelers, said the How about the New England Patriots?
Oh wow.
You take that?
Yeah.
Was that a yeah or a nah?
I'm going Dolphins.
Dolphins?
Switch it
No
up
way.
on me there.
All right, Dolphins is on the list.
Oh.
What?
Wow.
Now, would Patriots have been on the list? That's for a win,
No.
right?
Yeah, that's win.
That's a win. So, Jim, despite Jim not knowing it,
We still won,
a
though.
win for Team Jim.
Let's go. I'm an idiot, but we still won.
Yeah, you know New England was terrible until Brady got there, right?
But it's like 20 years.
I know. But what about the other 50 years of Monday Night Football?
But 20 years is a long time.
It is a lot of years. Dolphins?
Raiders?
This is over, by the way, right?
Yeah,
this is over. You
Chris,
guys can stop
this
guessing.
is over.
All right,
Chris.
who else is on the list?
All right, the Steelers are number 1 with 56. The Niners are 2 with 52. Then the Cowboys, like I mentioned, with 50. The Raiders were on the list. They're 4th with 44. The Dolphins were 5th with 43. Packers had 40 along with the Eagles, and then the Bears had 37.
Do you have the full list of teams? Do you have the
Yes.
least wins on Monday Night Football? Is it
It's like
Jacksonville or is
Patriots.
it Carolina? I assume Jacksonville is the fewest wins on Monday Night.
There's a handful of teams that they don't even
List.
list, but it's like 15.
Okay. Well, congratulations to Charlie, right?
Charlie.
Because
yep.
Charlie, you've won a 4-pack of tickets to
Charlie.
SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. New twists, turns, and special effects are lurking around every corner with 5 terror-filled houses, 10 scare zones, and haunts and death-defying drops with rides after dark. The screamiest event of the season is now at SeaWorld San Diego's Howl O Scream through October 31st on select nights. For more information, visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com. All right, let's take a look at. By the way, the ALCS is like halfway home. The NLCS hasn't started.
I know it starts in moments.
In just moments, Philadelphia and Arizona will get into those championship series. Plus, we'll get you ready for Monday Night Football. You can hear it here at 5:15 on San Diego Sports 760. Don't go anywhere. That's next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Jim Petrell Real Estate Team. ALCS Game 2 in the books. Rangers, they beat the Astros 5-4. They have a 2-0 series lead there as they head back to Texas, or I guess Arlington. They're in Texas right now. Duh, idiot. NLCS gets underway in moments from Philadelphia as the Phillies take on the D-backs. Zach Wheeler versus Zach Gallen, their pitching matchup there. Monday Night Football gets underway in about 15 minutes from LA as the Chargers take on the Cowboys. And the Aztecs, they beat Hawaii this past weekend 41-34, ending their 4-game losing streak. They take on Nevada this Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone calls, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final 10 or so minutes of Jon and Jim today. Why? Because of Monday Night Football. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760. That's coming up at 5:15. We're keeping our eye on the championship series, which, of course, is well underway in the American League. Jim just had it for you. The Rangers now lead this series against the Astros 2-0. Phillies and Diamondbacks will literally get underway momentarily, right? Just after 5 o'clock Pacific?
First pitch is 5:07.
Okay, so in 4 or 5 minutes, but Rangers well on their way.
Yeah.
Truly remarkable. Honestly, if they can win this series in 4 or 5 games against the Astros, who have been in 7 consecutive championship series, who have home field. And then is it a collision course here with the Phillies, who have been so good the last 2 years in the postseason? Do we give the Diamondbacks any chance? I don't think a lot of people gave them a chance against the Dodgers. Are you giving them a chance against the Phillies beginning tonight?
I give them a chance. Not a big one.
Just a puncher's.
But a puncher's chance. I don't think they're playing like the Phillies did last year. You know, like the Phillies last year as the 6th seed just steamrolled their way to the World Series, but their talent on that team was better than a 6th seed. I don't feel the same way I do about the Diamondbacks this year. Diamondbacks, they're not a 6th seed.
Nice story.
But look up and down their lineup. It's not really the Bryce Harpers, the Kyle Schwarbers, the Castellanos, the Trey Turners of the world.
They have good young talent. They have Corbin Carroll. They have Tommy Pham.
Marte.
Their pitching is good, not great, right? That's how I see their starting pitching.
I think they're young enough. They might not know any better.
Definitely.
They might just be riding just so high on confidence just from sweeping the Dodgers. And, you know, they might feel like they can do anything.
So wait, they haven't lost either.
I know. They're 5-0.
Yeah. So you got the Rangers who are 7-0, the Diamondbacks who are 5-0.
Yeah.
And game 1 tonight in Philadelphia. It would be much more surprising to me if the Diamondbacks win this series than the Rangers heading in, beating the Astros. But we shall see. The baseball postseason has been unpredictable.
Yeah, the Rangers and the Astros both won 90 games this year. Now, I don't feel like that is this crazy disparity.
It's not.
Diamondbacks won what, 86?
84.
84?
84.
2 more than the Padres.
And the Phillies won 90?
I think that's right. 89 or 90?
There's 90, I think.
90? Okay.
So yeah, this would be, imagine an 84 win team in
winning
the World Series.
or potentially winning it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Neither do I. I don't. But this has been a little bit. Do you think anything comes of this? Let's say the Phillies as a wild card win the World Series, the Rangers were a wild card. Do you expect any change? I don't see why they would. Isn't that the point of having the expanded postseason, to allow other teams the opportunity?
Now, if this happens every year for the next decade, then talk to me. Or even just the next 5 years.
Yeah.
But as of right now, that's the beauty of sports. Not always do the best teams win. And the advantage of being the best team in baseball is you get to line everything up perfectly just how you want it, and you get home field. It's hard to say no to that. It's hard to say no to lining up everything how you want it, to rest guys, and to have home field advantage.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Unlike the Diamondbacks, or the Padres last year, even though they did have home field in the NLCS, but up until that point, it was all right, you got to go on the road to New York for a 3-game series maximum there. You have to start on the road versus the Dodgers, and then potentially on the. I mean, it's the Diamondbacks are dealing with the tough schedule. The Rangers are dealing with the tough schedule, and they're overcoming it.
Yeah.
I mean, to bank on that every year, to have that team just roll through, it's tough.
What's interesting is if you think back basically a year ago tonight, it's not to the day, but to the game. It's a year ago to the game.
Yeah.
Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. What difference a year makes? I mean, Petco Park, that game 1 was a really intriguing game where the Phillies committed a couple of errors and the Padres could not take advantage. Padres then bounced back to win game 2, that day game.
Game 1 was a pitching duel.
It was.
Between Darvish and Wheeler. And Wheeler was fantastic. And Darvish gave up one mistake, and that was the longest home run I've ever seen hit in my in person in my entire life. That Schwarber bomb last year in game 1, no doubt about it, the farthest home run I've ever seen hit live. What's the farthest home run you've ever seen hit live? Because I heard a rumor, John, that you worked in minor league baseball for 15 years.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
You can't recall a home run that you're like, oh my God.
I mean, I'm sure I can. I don't know. I don't know.
What about major leagues in person?
Major League Baseball in person? I mean, I didn't break out like Gamecast and look at like exit velocity.
You don't.
I'm not like I don't have some app that shows the home runs, the farthest home runs ever hit with me in attendance.
I'm not talking about like scientifically the actual farthest home run you've seen hit. I'm talking about going to that game and seeing Schwarber hit that home run. I don't remember how far it went, but I know it was.
It was far.
I know it was very far. Upper deck at Petco in the right field bleachers. That's a far home run.
Okay, here's what I would say. I have seen a lot of very far home runs. Like very far.
Okay.
I just don't know. You know me, I'm not really a numbers guy. Well, I'm a numbers guy.
Like just from seeing it.
I don't know.
Oh my God, that ball was hit so far.
Hassan Kim's homer April 4th.
What a cop out.
I don't know, dude.
You can't think
I have
of any
no
home
idea.
runs.
Manny Machado, that home run he hit.
Which one?
Or the Soto homer.
Okay.
Or maybe that Tatis one. Tatis has hit some bombs.
Yeah, he has.
I like 2021 vintage Tatis, the 40-something home runs.
So what I'm getting from this is you really haven't seen a Schwarber bomb from NLCS game 1 last year.
I haven't seen one go further, you're saying?
Yeah, that was a 500
No, it wasn't. Let's look it up. It was not 500 feet.
Bet you it was.
You think that was hit 500 feet? According to Gamecast.
Pretty close, yeah.
There's no ball that's ever been hit 500 feet according to Gamecast. I don't think. Maybe a couple.
I want to say
we're going to look it up once the show ends.
I want to say that's the longest home run ever hit at Petco Park.
Okay, but in the Gamecast era, in baseball, that was 500 feet, Jim. Did you walk uphill in snow both ways when you were in school? That was not hit 500 feet.
I never experienced snow.
Now Jim's looking it up.
488 feet.
Okay, that's far. Yeah, that would be among that would be among the farthest home runs I've ever seen. That's a great point. That's a bomb. Yeah. And the Padres still could have won that game. The way I recall is that they had runners on in the 9th inning. Did they not? They had runners on in the 9th inning.
Manny hit it in double play, I believe, to end the game.
Okay,
when you needed him to come up big in the big spot. It was. Listen to this. The exit velocity off Schwarber's home run last year in game 1,
200,
was 119.7 miles per hour, making it the hardest hit postseason home run in the StatCast era since 2015. It's also the longest home run at Petco Park in that same time span. So I was right without even seeing the numbers.
Yeah, that's far. I didn't realize it went 488 feet, but now that you say that, I do remember it went 488 feet is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then, Bryce did hit a home run that game. So they lost 2-0, right? Or they lost 2-1. They lost 2-0 because Bryce hit a home run too.
Yeah, I do remember.
It was Bryce hit a home run first. It doesn't matter.
Man, this is really good look back. Yeah, I'm sure.
Why do we
2-0,
care?
2-0 final.
Yeah,
2-0 final.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming up in just a couple of minutes, we have Monday Night Football for you. Cowboys, Chargers. Theoretically, an important game for both of these teams, I would say. Right? Cowboys got off to a good start. They've got a couple of losses. Chargers are just 2-2, right? This is only their 5th game. They're 2-2 on the year. This is coming up in just a couple of minutes. Cowboys and Chargers from Los Angeles, where it will be. You can say this with any team. It will be a Cowboys home game tonight.
I don't know who to root for tonight.
Really?
This is a weird matchup for me.
Okay.
Hate the Cowboys. Despise the Chargers.
So you could root for neither. Would you root for the Chargers if Bruce Bochy was their head coach?
You son of a.
Because I guess I understand it. I know it's legitimate. I understand it. But like, is there anything that would make you root for?
I think I got to go Chargers just because Cowboys are in the NFC.
So you're rooting for the Chargers?
Actually, no, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not
Jim just said he's got to go Chargers.
Shut up. I'm not. I said I'm thinking about it.
Digging out the powder.
Now, if you're
blue.
not watching us on YouTube and you're listening on the radio, Jim, of course, is wearing the throwback baby blue Rivers right now.
No, I'm not. Not even close. I would never wear anything Chargers related. Actually, I hope
Doug Fotts jersey on.
Yeah, my
exactly.
Doug Fotts and my LaDainian Tomlinson jersey.
Chargers left 7 years ago.
Breaking news.
Okay, they left 7 years
Jim
ago,
fact.
and Jim is still saying that despises.
Yeah, they suck.
But you said that when they were here too, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so you've changed.
Well, yeah, when you leave it,
But you weren't rooting for the Chargers when they were here, were you?
I was.
You were.
Yeah.
So you had Niners, Eagles, and you had half the team. You had half the league.
I didn't know Aaron back then, so the Eagles were not my team back then.
Okay, so you were in on the Chargers as your AFC team.
Yeah.
But then they left and you said peace.
Peace out. Bye.
Okay,
Never talk to me ever again. Go rot in hell.
So you had Chargers
No,
memorabilia and
did.
gear?
No, I did
Spanos
not.
stuff?
No, I did not have any
didn't have any Spanos
Spanos
stuff.
jerseys or.
Okay.
But
you would go to the games and
I wanted them to win.
yeah, well, it makes sense when they were in San Diego.
Right.
But then they left and
Bye.
bye. But isn't it amazing? I've said this since moving to San Diego 7 years ago. I don't see anyone wear Charger stuff in San Diego ever.
Nope.
I know people are watching on TV because we see TV ratings. They're probably hate watching. But how often do you see someone in San Diego wearing Chargers gear?
I saw a homeless person wearing.
I was just going to say non-homeless.
Yeah.
It's not often, right?
No. Because the only jerseys I ever see someone wear that Chargers related, it's a homeless person, honestly. Which is, I mean,
what?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, if you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app.
But for San Diego, that is a huge population.
TuneIn Radio, Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. We're back tomorrow at 3.
What a great show.
Find us on social media at Jon and Jim. JONANDJIM. We're back tomorrow at 3. Monday Night Football comes your way next. For Brent, for Jim, I'm Jon. Thank you if you're listening.
We're sorry if you're listening.
Keep it right here.
We're
It
watching.
is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Okay. What were you talking about?